Now I'd like to call upon Mr. Rashed Kamal, our editor and publisher, to do his presentation.
Thank you all. First of all, I'd like to thank Basis first for giving us the opportunity to organize such a time-worthy and pertinent seminar. And I'll definitely show my gratitude to CNews also, who has organized such a seminar, and all the panelists and distinguished guests and the audience and the journalist friends. Good afternoon. This is actually today we are the seminar of next generation, boosting up the next generation for ICT entrepreneurship. I think the topic, actually we'll discuss about the whole topic, and I would request you to participate throughout the seminar so that we don't want to follow the normal seminar procedure. Definitely we want your participation from your side. So I'd request you all to participate with us, at least at the question and answer session. So this will be our presentation plan. First of all, I think the screen is open, right? It's visible, right, from the back side? Okay, this is the presentation plan. Entrepreneurship as a nutshell, the first part. Second part is the knowledge. Actually, what are the knowledge should one ICT entrepreneur should possess? And the third part is the business plan and the model of business. And after that, there will be some other speakers who will be sharing their views and definitely put some shades on, shed some lights on the total topic. Nice to meet you all. I'm Rashed Kamal. As said before, I'm the editor and publisher of the monthly CNews and managing director of the Databiz Software Limited, which is a software company. I'm also the international consultant of ICT Geneva, which is a UN and WTO joint organization. I'm a CBI BITM certified trainer for export marketing strategy. And from my academic background is I'm a business graduate from IBA Dhaka University and postgraduated from IIT Dhaka University. Why I'm here? This is a very crucial question. In fact, I myself is an ICT entrepreneur and around having 15 plus years experience in the line. And I had the opportunity to discuss and to coach around 70 plus entrepreneurs throughout the globe, mostly of them actually from outside of Bangladesh. So I shared their views, and I had the opportunity to get some knowledge, their mindset, and their planning of entrepreneurship. So I'd like to share those views also. And lastly, I'm trained and certified on ICT innovation and export marketing strategy. How to get benefit from this? First of all, I mentioned that. So be creative and proactive. This is not a one-way communication. And share your ideas. And I'd request you to visualize whatever topic we'll be discussing on. Try to visualize, visualize the scenario from your side. I think that will give you better benefit. And do not hesitate to ask any query, any question, whatever is in your mind in the question and answer session. You can use your notebook. Probably a notebook has been served to keep a point, but you don't need to write down any point from the slide, because if needed, you can get this slide from CNews. So Keynote will be open for you all. But I'd request you to switch off or at least silence your cell phone so that we can concentrate on the thing. Now the main topic, entrepreneurship. The French word entrepreneurship or entrepreneur or entrepreneur or entrepreneur, whatever you mention, it's the same thing. The thing is, entrepreneur means, it's a Bangla bojodi boli, uddokta, or aro common word, ব্যবসায়ী. So whatever you mention, it's the same thing. And this is one of my favorite topic. One of my favorite line. Actually, one becomes an entrepreneur not by birth, but by education and experience. And I love another dialogue from the philosopher Mark Twain. Actually, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. So from that point of view, actually, what is the objective, real objective of this session? First of all, the main objective is to encouraging the next generation for ICT entrepreneurship. This is the first objective. And secondly, unveiling the truth of required knowledge In fact, ICT entrepreneurship is a little bit different than others. I'll come to that point. So what are the required knowledge needed for any ICT entrepreneur? We'll try to mention or we'll try to discuss in this session. This is the current position. Actually, our target is now to earn an export around 5 billion by 2021. This is the industry target, and we are heading towards that. But actually, there are some problems. Yesterday, also, we had a seminar. Actually, there are some problems in the figures. Some data, actually, we are not getting proper data. Research authority is doing this type of research. Whatever is the figure we need, we have to, if we want to achieve this target, definitely, thing is, we need more and more business. And in a nutshell, more and more entrepreneurs. And what is basically entrepreneurship? So if we go into this definition, the capacity and willingness to develop, organize, and manage a business venture for profit, definitely. So profit and with any of its risk in order to make profit. Actually, there are two parts. One is any entrepreneur works for profit, no other way around. And second thing is he or she will have to take risk. So risk and profit, and we can summarize in this way. The most obvious example of entrepreneurship is to start a new business. Then functions. What are the functions of an entrepreneur? Any entrepreneur will have to be innovative. Innovation is the core function. Then risk-taking, organization building, absorb ambiguity, and he or she should face the challenge and build a commitment. These things can be mentioned as the core function of any entrepreneur. And who can be an entrepreneur? Actually, if you define or if you want to be an entrepreneur, actually anybody of any age can be an entrepreneur, but he or she will have to possess the certain qualities. And this can be summarized like this: high level of energy and flexibility, need of achievement, high need of achievement definitely, and self-reliance and desire for independence. Fifth point is tolerance or ambiguity, tolerance for ambiguity, and the self-confidence and some other things. These are the basic 6 characteristics or basic 6 functions, basic 6 requirements for being an entrepreneur. Now, what are the challenge? Even if you have these skills, we will be facing some challenge. So if we summarize one by one, then you have to get out of your normal comfort zone. Say, we live in our comfort zone, right? So we have to get out of that. The first quality is we have to get out of that comfort zone. The second thing is you can be assured of whatever is your first venture or whatever is your first product release or whatever, it may be failed almost 100% sure. So you have to take that initiative to relaunch or rebranding that product. This sort of reinitiation taking is a must challenging factor. Then you have to kiss up certain number of people actually who you do not like. In corporate world, we can avoid some people whom we do not like, but for entrepreneurship, it's not possible. Number 4, maybe you have to put your business before your family. It's very normal because family life, for being an entrepreneur, definitely you have to put it over your family life. Number 5 is actually you cannot work from 9 to 5 and you have to work 16 hours a day minimum, which is a normal statistics, and 7 days a week. So don't think that that's that much critical. Actually, it's nothing critical, but it's the regular thing. And trying to raise money and getting a customer, which we are thinking normally before being an entrepreneur, is not that easy. To get a new client, to get a new customer, it's very, very difficult. And taking money from somebody's pocket into your company is a real challenge. Those of you already have that experience, I think you will be with me. It's a real challenge. And I'll learn from my mistake. As entrepreneurs do not have any boss, he's his own boss, so there is nobody who can teach them or who can guide them. So I'll learn from my mistake will maybe your main mantra. And another issue is you may need to forget, this is very funny issue, maybe you will forget that when you got your salary last time in a single figure, in all together. This is reality. As an entrepreneur, you cannot claim that you are getting your salary regularly. It's a very normal phenomenon. And number of problems and number of decisions normally you need to take every day will be more, way higher than your estimated. So these are the common problems. So what you need to do, you have to become a jack of all trades. And there is no other options. So for ICT entrepreneurs, this is a little bit different. One additional thing actually is needed for ICT entrepreneurship, which is passion. We always call for ICT entrepreneurship, without having a passion, actually it's not possible. Whatever product or service you offer, whatever product or service you you want to run on, definitely you have to have that passion. And if you summarize the total skills, so what you need for an ICT entrepreneurship is definitely the required skills, which we just discussed, plus passion, and lastly, required knowledge. This required knowledge part is also very unique for ICT entrepreneurship. Actually, for any other entrepreneur, sometimes, say for example, আমি একটা pharmacy দেবো, অথবা আমি একটা confectionery দেবো. That much required knowledge is not important. Pharmacy জন্য তবুও দরকার, maybe confectionery, that knowledge is not required. But for ICT entrepreneurship, knowledge is a must. So we will basically talk about that area specifically in today's seminar. We'll try to highlight something so that all the future entrepreneurs or future interested, new generation, they can be interested to get into this area. Now, historically, the ICT entrepreneurs, normally they come from two disciplines. One is the business discipline and one other is the IT discipline. And from IT, actually, they come from graduating or taking MS degree from any IT institute. Or secondly, from business, actually from business graduation or having some experiences in business. Sometimes they come from even having pass course. So pass course is not there right now. 3 years, 4 years graduation in business. Then they come to be an entrepreneur. So from these two disciplines. And this is basically the core business area where you can be an entrepreneur. We have divided in two sectors. Number one is core software. In core software, normally 4 subsectors. Maybe you can be an offshore developer, offshore development, software product development, and marketing, and a web. This is a basic thing. And in IT-enabled service, there are a lot of things. In fact, portal, data entry, record keeping, voice to data, medical transcription, all this sort of things. And image processing and graphics is another very popular sector for ITS side. So this is the area where basically you can be becoming an entrepreneur, this area you have to work on. Now what? So what required knowledge actually you need or you should possess to become an ICT entrepreneur? You see, we have divided the knowledge areas into 3 basic categories. One is for the common knowledge area. Common knowledge area is important in whatever category you work on, be it is a software company or be it ITES company. This is very common. And the second part is the knowledge area for core software company. And the third part is the knowledge area required for the IT-enabled company. So in these 3 categories, actually we would present the knowledge areas in today's seminar so that we can understand something in more detail and how to get those knowledge areas. So for these core software companies, if you want to become a core software developer or core software company, you want to run a show, then these are the knowledge areas we believe that you have to possess. So you will get a list of these knowledge areas. Don't get afraid on seeing these knowledge areas. Looks very clumsy, but I'm coming one by one. There's a 2-part, the common knowledge areas, and the second part is the knowledge for core software companies. And for the ITES industry, if you want to go for an ITES entrepreneurship, these are the knowledge areas actually you should possess. First of all, the common knowledge areas, and the second part is the specific knowledge area. I'm coming to that detail in the knowledge area. First of all, for common knowledge area, definitely computer fundamental is a must. And you have to have the knowledge of hardware and their activities, software and hardware interaction, and the pseudo logic, which is very important. Whatever is your business, without having this knowledge, it's difficult. And a little bit knowledge of processor, memory, and hard drive. And to the next slide, we'll shed some light on the management side. This is, we call it strategic management. Definitely the industry analysis, where you want to be a player. You have to have a clean knowledge on that. Internal resources, functional and business level strategy, and definitely forecasting capacity about the industry, which is another important area if you really want to be an entrepreneur. HR management, because now if you are an entrepreneur, definitely you have to have a team. So you have to manage those teams. So motivational technique, organizational behavior, interviewing technique, retention policy, this is very, very much important. Otherwise, you cannot retain your staff. And for ICT entrepreneurship, retaining your staff is very important. I'll come to that point in detail a little bit. And some other secretarial practice, that is appointment letter issue, promotion letter, incremental letter, this is very common. And the industry resource index. Industry resource index, in fact, if you want to become an IT entrepreneur, and if you don't have the idea about the industry resource index, like their salary and their expectation, their motivation, their total benefit package, definitely it will be tough. And the business communication, because ICT entrepreneurship, normally, even if you work locally and even if you work internationally, we work with some international clients, definitely business communication knowledge is a must. It's a professional business mail writing, writing mails with clients and leads, proposal writing, meeting negotiation technique, price offer, and the basic meeting techniques. These are the basic, very common areas. And the legal aspects. You see, for ICT, IT entrepreneurship, legal aspects like contract writing, like NDA, MOU, RFP, these are the terms you should know. Otherwise, it's becoming critical for you in a when you become an entrepreneur. And along with that, Company Act, arbitration, cross-boundary law practices, because if you want to work with European companies, if you want to work with US company, definitely their laws, their practices, you have to have an idea about. Otherwise, definitely difficult. And one additional stuff is a warranty or IP. You have to have a clean idea on this. Otherwise, you see, IP in Bangladesh, IP is not a very big deal. We avoid this normally IP issues, but for outside of Bangladesh, let's say for Europe and for America, voiding an IP policy will be threatening for you. Maybe your total business will be gone. So you have to have a very clean idea on that. And then the confidentiality, data protection, this type of knowledge, and lastly, banking. So banking, you see, you have to bank, you have to take your money from outside, or maybe internally also you have to make some transactions. So banking knowledge, along with the legal knowledge, we believe will be one of the core knowledge area. Then international local marketing, whatever, for entrepreneurship, definitely market research, market segmentation, target market, and the positioning, value proposition, and we call it sales pitch, marketing plan, forecasting. These are very common area. You should have you should definitely have some knowledge on that. Basic project management. It's a very interesting section. In IT, yes, or in software, in both area, actually, there is no other way without having a proper knowledge or clean knowledge of project management. So project management techniques, triple constant method, we call it, say, scope management, say, resource management, and the time management. These three things, along with all other techniques, as a project manager, definitely if you want to be an entrepreneur, I think, as I said, jack of all trades, because there is no other way, because you have to manage a team. At the same time, Gantt chart, resource, activity diagram, critical path, Slack, this type of thing. These are very common things in project management, and you have to have some knowledge. And project and organizational culture. You see, your company culture is very crucial, and you have to know that in that much detail that not all the standard project methodology might work in your company culture. So for your company culture, maybe some specific methodology, maybe some specific technique which is required, and definitely you have to have a clean knowledge on that. And in the common area, the last knowledge is accounting and financial management. Even if you come from the IT graduation or whatever thing, then definitely accounting. I am talking about the concept. I'm not talking about that you have to have an honors degree on accounting or finance. But you have to have the concept. What is T accounts? What is journal? What is ledger? What is balance sheet? What is profit and loss account? What is the trial balance? So you have to know your company growth analysis. You have to study on that. So there is no other way that if you do not have the idea on the accounting ratio and the health, I mean, where from which we normally assume, I mean, we normally figure out the company health, I think it will not be a good site for you. So this sort of thing. Now we can move on to the specific knowledge area for the software companies. So first of all, I would definitely mention the core operating system knowledge, because whatever software you make, actually it runs on an operating system, right? And I would recommend personally to go for Linux operating system, because it's Unix is the mother of all operating system. So if you at least have some idea, because you are developing a software and you have to run on some OS. So basic OS idea, how the processes run, how the processes synchronize, what is the deadlock, what is the memory management, is a very basic thing. So I would recommend that you have some basic knowledge on this thing. And last of all is operating system security, because your software security, a part of it consists from the operating system security. Now comes the software engineering, the most important part of the software, software companies, the software process model. In which way you are developing your software, because you have to maybe negotiate, or you have to work with some international clients. Maybe it's whatever is the methodology, definitely. So there are some certain recognized methodology like Agile, like waterfall, incremental, reuse-oriented, this type of methodology. And the software design process, software engineering process, definitely. And Agile, XP means extreme programming. Pair programming, Scrum concept, this is very important, because you have to retain a team, right? So whenever you retain a team, you have to know the best output, how can you get the best output of that team. So if you want to make a best usage of your resources, I think the strategy, or in which direction you want to go, or whatever is your company, in which direction your company should have the development methodology, it's very important. So this type of thing. And the system modeling, UML technique, UML design, and architectural design. And along with that, definitely the MVC, layered architecture. These are very basic. I would recommend to have these basic knowledges. And the basic networking concept. So let's say I have seen many companies which actually, as I said, your software basically runs on operating system and a network. Here, Mr. Fahim Mashur is with us. For example, think about a scenario, BD Jobs launched yesterday, and today, BD Jobs is down for 10 times. Do you think BD Jobs should be আজকে যেই জায়গায় আছে এই জায়গায় আসতে পারতো কোনোদিন? So you need a complete environment, right? So a total service depends on a complete environment where basic networking is a vital part. And I believe, without having those knowledge, maybe you can retain a team. But ওই যে বাংলা একটা কথা আছে না, আপনাকে সাপের পাঁচ পা দেখানো কিন্তু খুব easy. So if you don't have that knowledge in your mind, if you don't possess that, so what will happen, that whatever they will say, you have to say yes. So this is actually not always, healthy for your company. So the basic networking knowledge, I just mentioned layered concept and some topologies of network, IP series, network securities, and concept of networking products. And regarding programming, 3 types of programming, I would definitely mention. Structured programming knowledge, what is the logic? It's very simple, আমরা যেটাকে programming বলি, but you have to have a basic core knowledge on the programming. What is loop, what is control structure, what is array pointer, this sort of thing. And a core knowledge of object-oriented programming. Now it's becoming, the buzzword you can say, but it's not a buzzword. It's a technique of programming. So it's a concept knowledge of object-oriented programming, like class concept and the object concepts. And there are basic 3 characteristics like inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation. This type of basic thing. I am not recommending you to become an object-oriented programmer, but whenever you retain a team and they program, because if you want to become a successful entrepreneur, whatever software you do, whatever software you make, it will have to be reusable. So reusable software, if you want to make a further use of that software, definitely the software structure and the design is very important. So that's the core part where you need this knowledge. The data structure and memory management, as I said, nowadays, once upon a time, actually, all the technical people cares about 2 things. One is memory and one is the hard drive. Nowadays, hard drive is not an issue at all. Terabytes of data actually is not a matter at all. Now the only things left is the memory. So the memory management, the technique of memory management and for writing a software, actually you can write the same software in 5,000 lines or in 50 lines. And you can same software in an efficient way or inefficient way. So you have to know, you have to be very clear that your software structure and structural design is up to the mark. So that's the thing, the memory management concept of stacks, queue, and the linked list sort of thing. Then the database. Actually, whatever work we do in software, almost 80% consists of some part of database. Think about Facebook. It's becoming the most, what should I say, one of the most mentionable example, right? In a very short time, they become #1. So how they do that and how they did it? You see, the Facebook as a software, it's not a very complex software. There are a lot of software before which was better than Facebook. But Facebook, actually what they use is the scalability of the software development. You see, when the Facebook user became huge in number, but you haven't seen a single day when Facebook was down. This is reality. So how they did it? Basically, where it comes the name of database. So if you want to be a good entrepreneur, if you want to become your business successful, definitely a knowledge of core database. How do you manage that? You have to have an idea, the basic database concept, that is SQL views and database structure, what is warehousing, data mining, and I should rather say the information keeping and retrieval from search engine. This type of thing. This is basically nowadays SQL and NoSQL database. Both type of database are there, but you have to have a basic knowledge on that. And basic internet programming, I already mentioned before. And last, definitely Android. Why I mention Android? Because it's a Java platform. Nowadays, whatever solution you do, people will ask for a little bit mobile interfacing or mobile-oriented application. So without having a proper knowledge on this language, it's difficult to run, make a product or develop a product and market as per your need. So a basic knowledge on Android. Now, the knowledge for ITS industries, as I said, the common knowledge is common. Now the knowledge of process management, it came here. So any ITS industry actually consists of a process. So how do you manage that process? And the process monitoring tools, you have to have an idea about the process monitoring tools, because if you do not have a checkpoint, if you do not have a concept of proper process management, definitely I think it will be tough for you to run a long-term ITES company. Here comes the concept of ISO. ISO, actually International Standard Organization, they have provided some model of process management in their ISO 2008, 9001, 2013. And there are some other ISOs also, ISO 27000, which is a security concept basically. So data security concept is also a very, very important thing. But you have to have some core idea on this. And for BPO, that is the ITES service, another important part is the advanced networking concept. I met with some African entrepreneur. You will be shocked to know that the basic problem that they face for their entrepreneurship challenge is the networking knowledge. Because I have seen some entrepreneur, actually, they failed due to they didn't have the core internet knowledge, because they were basically instructed by somebody to have the solution in such a way that it was not proper. So they couldn't survive or they couldn't sustain with a European standard or European part. So basically, core networking knowledge, you have to have some knowledge on IVR, core knowledge, and the call center networking, definitely. Network monitoring tools, server administration, network troubleshooting, this sort of stuff. And the graphics. You see, the graphics and the BPO, we call it a majority portion of the thing is basically consists of graphics. You have to have some aesthetics. This is very regular. And I'll come to the cultural issue, because our choice and our aesthetics feeling and European aesthetic feelings is not same. So I'll come to that point. Definitely the color management, color contrast thing, and the UI and UX concept, this type of thing. And for some BPOs, actually advanced English knowledge is important. Now, thinking about the business model, actually whatever is the business model you choose, I've mentioned some business model. So think about your market segmentation and definitely vertical market, horizontal market, where you are, company size. Without having this knowledge, you will you will face the challenge in more detail in the long run. So this type of basic knowledge you actually need. Company size actually, you don't need a, your strategy definitely will be different from other player strategy. Depending on your company size and your offerings. So we call it STP analysis in business model, segmenting, targeting, and positioning. You should have some basic idea on that, so that if you want to really sustain in the long run. This matrix actually action plan, strategy, confrontation, and SWOT. There is a triangle. Actually, I think it's not visible here. SWOT analysis. These are the very basic thing. You have to know your basic strength and weakness. Then from there, you have to confront where you have to make your strategy, and this strategy you have to make the action plan. So this is the thing. Actually, the strategy, budget, activities, resource, and timing. You'll have to have some little knowledge on this, and definitely for your business, using that knowledge, I think you will become successful. And using this type of chart, this is action plan, budget, and resource timing. So this type of chart actually, I have seen many entrepreneurs who actually do not feel that this type of mathematics is needed. Actually, there's a complete mathematics behind. So for any entrepreneur, if you want to become a successful entrepreneur in the long run, definitely this type of chart, in which month, what activities you are going to do, with how much budget, you must have to have a plan. So, and the cultural aspect, as I said, your culture and your customer's culture may not be same. So, if you want to start business with European companies, if you want to make some European clients and US clients, definitely everywhere there's a difference. We say how we say, at least আমরা যে মেলটা লিখি, মেলের মধ্যে আমরা যে স্যালুটেশনটা দেই, say hi Mr. Omuk, say Mr. নয়, hi Rashed. And say for American, hi Rashed is a very regular thing. But for European, at least for British, if you say hi Rashed, I think they will feel a little bit embarrassed. Their Mr. Rashed is their preferred language. So this type of cultural aspects, how they feel and how your customer feels, actually is important for definitely for communication. And the SMS, how you make the email and the different culture across the Europe. Social media marketing, I'm not going to that. You know all about this, but social media marketing is definitely important for you. And finally, the tradables. What you are offering as an entrepreneur is very important. Be very specific. Do not offer all the things which you do not have, or which you are not where you are not expert. So be very specific. Summarize your tradables, what you really want to offer, and then offer them. And I'd request you, don't go by, line by line generic meaning. For example, if some of your colleagues says, okay, yes, bhai, Europeer ব্যবসা কিন্তু খুব ভালো. আপনি ওটা শুনেই আপনি লেগে গেলেন যে ইউরোপের ব্যবসা খুব ভালো. Actually, there may be some internal meaning. There are a lot of internal meaning. Actually, you should possess, like you should understand, like actually what is happening. So I would recommend you, don't go by line meaning, better explore the internal meaning. And this is the final tips. Actually, use your experience. Do not try to reinvent the wheel, because you are becoming an entrepreneur. I am not talking about only the new entrepreneurs. I am also, I would request to follow the same thing for the existing entrepreneur also. It's not usual, it's not normal to reinvent anything, because you are the last person, maybe you are the last stupid who is doing the same thing. Okay, so do not try to reinvent anything, and do not spare a single money without any single budget. And the knowledge we have talked about, I believe, although it seems that's a very complex thing, if you spare around 3 to 6 months of your time, I think, it's possible for any of you to gain the basic concept of this knowledge, which is, I think, very much needed for your future plan or for your future activities. So this core knowledges area, I recommend I mean, you can even have these things from Google also, but you have to have a clean knowledge on that. There is no other responsibility. I mean, no other way. And the social responsibility, I would say that now you are becoming an entrepreneur, so you are directly contributing the GDP. So you are basically improving the society and the mankind. So you are basically sacrificing your present for a complete better future. So becoming an entrepreneur, I mean, you have to be that much social activity conscious. So this is a wrap up. So which you have discussed, I mean, what is the core entrepreneurship? What are the knowledge areas required for becoming an entrepreneur? And definitely some business model, how to become an entrepreneur, and strategy build up and action plan. Thank you very much. Thanks from my side.